So I like to start with the onions here, chop them in half, remove the skins, and we just want to dice up our onions into small centimetre cubes, relatively fine. So work your way through your onions, and then we want to chuck the onions into a bowl and stick them to one side while we prepare our chorizo. I like to dice up my chorizo quite fine, but a little bit chunky. So chop your chorizo in half, chop it in half again, and dice it up into roughly the same size cubes as your onion. Next, we want to prepare our potatoes. People use cooked potatoes, or they blanch the potatoes first before dicing them up, but I like to chop up the potatoes raw, skins and all, to small centimetre cubes. Chop them about the same size as your chorizo and your onion. You want to stick the potatoes straight into a saucepan, as the first thing we're going to need to do is blanch the potatoes until they start to get soft. Next, take a few cloves of garlic, smash them with the back of a knife, and spend a few minutes removing the skins. And then you want to dice up the cloves of garlic as fine as you can. Pop the minced garlic into a small bowl, ready to cook. Fill up the saucepan with some cold water, and we want to pop those onto a high heat until they begin to boil. Once they're boiling, turn them down a touch until they're on a good rolling simmer. Keep checking them, and we want them to just start to get soft. Just remove a few pieces at a time, give them a stab with a knife, and once your potato starts to get soft, they're ready to go. They will spend another few minutes in the pan, so we don't want to overcook them. So drain your potato and just leave those to one side, as the first thing we're going to want to cook is our chorizo. So take a good high-walled, heavy-bottomed frying pan, pop that onto a medium heat, and we want to chuck in our chorizo pieces and olive oil. We want to slowly start rendering out the fat of our chorizo and get a nice bit of colour on them, but don't overcook them so they get crispy and tough and dried out. After a few minutes, once the chorizo has started to pick up a nice bit of colour and have released their beautiful oils, we want to remove the chorizo from the pan, and into the chorizo oil we want to chuck in our onions and potato. Turn the heat up in the pan and give the potato and onions a really good stir so they're coated in the beautiful chorizo oil. Season. Once you've done this, pat them down so they're nice and flat in the pan, and don't touch them. Just let them cook through for a few minutes until they start to roast off and get a beautiful bit of colour. And then give them a stir, pat them down again, and repeat until our onion and our potato is beautiful, golden and crispy. Chuck in your garlic and sweat that off. At this point, we want to chuck back in our chorizo, give the hash another good stir through, and when it's pretty much ready, just pop it to one side on a very low heat while we fry off a lovely free-range egg. So take a good heavy-bottomed frying pan, add a really nice generous splash of olive oil and a good generous knob of butter, and we're almost going to confit our egg. Cook it really nice and slow and low so we get a beautiful golden yolk, but the egg white cooks through perfectly. So crack in your egg and just let that gently cook through. Give it a splash in the butter and the oil to cook through the white, but leaving the yolk beautifully golden and runny. And once your egg is ready, turn the heat back up for the hash, give that one last stir through, and we're almost ready to serve. The last thing we want to do is to dice up some beautiful chives, really nice and fine, and pop those into a bowl, ready to garnish our dish. So to serve our chorizo hash, we want to serve the hash onto a plate and finish with a beautiful runny yolked free-range egg, beautifully fried off. And also add a nice sprinkle of our chives to finish the dish. And there we have an amazing breakfast, a really tasty lunch or brunch. My beautiful, simple and basic chorizo hash with a fried egg.